I'm redoing another red Ranger, and at the same time I'm doing a pink Ranger. So with this quarantine stuff, I have a lot more free time. But with the red, as you can see, I already cut the visor out. I fixed a lot of the imperfections. I also used an epoxy resin for the inside of the helmet. And that's because I got a helmet kit from Eric0101 Cosplay off Facebook, and his helmets are pretty cheap, but they come with a price, and that price is you pay what you get. So it's pretty thin, so I had to bulk up the helmet because I was afraid that if I cut it in half and it's super thin, that it's just gonna kind of warp, and you kind of don't want it to warp because you spent all this hard work and time on something that's just gonna go to shits. So I decided not to do that. And now with the spot putty, I'm fixing all the little imperfections that I can't really get with Bondo, and I was actually scraping it on with one of these, but I didn't really like the outcome of it, so I'm just gonna use my finger and just fill up these little tiny holes with my finger. And honestly, I think I'm getting a pretty good result on that. And then I'll use like a fine sandpaper to go in there and fix everything up from the spot putty. It's not the super warmest day, so it's gonna take a while for this stuff to dry. I also use a heat gun to help speed up the process, because I don't want to be out here all day waiting for this stuff to dry and only get a little of this work done. Because, you know, life's a little busy, and I don't really have all day just to do one little thing and then wait a full day or two for this stuff to dry. So usually I'll hit it with a heat gun. And I'll do that with the painting too, but you gotta kind of be careful with the painting. Because if you just painted it and then you hit it with the heat gun and it's too close, you'll actually bubble the paint up and mess it up. So sometimes you can't rush everything, but if you keep the heat gun at a pretty good distance away from the helmet and just kind of use it like you do with a blow dryer, it dries pretty quick and you can actually move on. And then I also got the pink helmet, which you can kind of see in the background. That helmet's a little different than the Eric helmet. That helmet I got from Jason Lopez on Facebook. And if you want to build a helmet and you don't want to do all this body work, you should go to him. Because his stuff, what he did is he takes like the stunt helmets from the show or the action helmets, and he actually fixes them all up from the original molds. So like if you want a legit helmet, he's definitely the one to go to, because with this one, I have to do all the body work. I have to line up the lines to cut it in half. I have to measure out the air holes and drill those in. But with his helmets, you don't have to do any of that. He already did the work for you. So like the dividing lines are already put in. I mean, you still got to cut it, but it's already there for you. And you also don't even have to use any of like the epoxy resin on the inside of the helmets with his, because his is already pretty much perfect. The only body work you have to do for him is maybe get some spot putty, and where he molded the helmet, you do get a little line. All you have to do is just sand it down, which only takes a couple minutes, and then hit it with some spot putty, and then you're all good. And also for the air holes, he already measured those out and already made the little indents, so all you have to do is drill. So like this helmet, which you see, probably took me at least 5 to 10 hours of body work. With Jason's helmet, this one, which is his, all I had to do was this little spot right there. The indent line from the mold is right here, which you can't see because I sanded it down. And then he also, I don't know if you could see, he also has the line where you cut it in half. And I already drilled the nose holes, but he actually puts the imprints in. So all you do is take a drill them in, and you're done. So like this helmet is probably like 10 hours worth of body work. This helmet is maybe 5 to 10, unless you want to count the visor. That took maybe a half an hour just to get it right. I did use a Dremel blade to cut it, and then I did sand it down. You gotta be careful when using a Dremel, especially like the little sand roller bit, because if you take too much out, then you cause yourself to do way more work. So that's pretty much at this stage. So the next one, I'm gonna sand it, but I kind of have to wait for it to dry some before I could do anything to it. But I mean, I can heat it up with a heat gun, which I can show you guys how to use. Like, I just bought a cheap heat gun off, I think, eBay or Amazon. And all you do is you take it, and you don't want to keep it in one spot too long. You just keep on moving it, keep it at a nice distance, because you don't want to overheat this stuff. And you don't want the cast to actually start melting or getting weak spots. Another trick too is you can also leave it in the sun at the same time. I mean, the heat gun's nice and it works, but like that sun works way better because it's a lot hotter. And also the nice thing about using your finger too is the spot putty is not on super thick, so it takes a lot less time to dry, which will give you more time to sand. Like, you can just sand pretty quickly. If you like pancake this stuff on, same thing with the Bondo, you're just causing yourself to do way more work. Also, like with the Arik helmets, like you're not gonna get this nice rim. You're gonna have to build it up yourself. Like, I have one on this one, but like you could see, here's the original helmet up in the dark gray, and here's all the Bondo work that I had to do to fix the rim. With Jason's helmets, you don't have to do any of that. It's already there for you. With this one too, like, I know in my past videos, I use like a plexiglass and like an epoxy glue for the keys. With this one, I'm actually going to use fiberglass cloth and fiberglass resin to make the keys. I'm going to take the easy way out with this one. This helmet's not really for cosplay, so I'm not going to put the hinge on top. This one's more just for display. So I'm going to use the elastic strap system that I used for the other helmet. But this one will also, I already have the visor autographed by Austin St. John, and so like this one will just be a display helmet. I'm not going to do a lot of line work that I did with the previous helmet. I'm going to try to make it more show accurate, because you'll see like a lot of the cosplay helmets where they put the black stripe here. I'm not going to do that this time. I'm also going to try painting a little differently this time. A lot of times with the paint, I just used like a clear gloss paint. Well, not clear gloss, but I used the gloss like red. This time I'm gonna try like a flat red, because like when you use the gloss paint, and sometimes if you don't let it dry long enough and you try to mask, that gloss paint will tear up, and all that work you did is ruined. Then you gotta wet sand it again. And it's just a pain. So this time I'm just gonna use flat paints. And then when everything's all said and done, I'll hit it with clear gloss, and then it should still pop like it normally does. So it's just a few tricks that I've learned from here and there, because I really haven't had time to build any of these helmets, because it's been what, like 4 years, 3 years since I posted a video. And I also do the same steps with the pink, because like I've never built a pink. So like even the visor is a little different, because now you got this piece here, unlike here where it's completely gone. So I'm gonna play around with that and see what's the best visor to put in there. I'm also gonna have to like pinstripe this too compared to this one. But we'll see what happens. I don't know. Not in a rush. I mean, with this COVID-19 stuff, I have all this free time right now, so hopefully if the weather stays pretty good, hopefully all this stuff will be done in like no time. So I think that last Red Ranger helmet I built, I did it in 5 days, 5 to 7 days total. This one I'm not going to rush as much, but I'm going to try to get as much as I can. It's also not as hot outside as what it was when I was actually doing it the first time. So we'll just see what happens and go from there, and hopefully the next video will be uploaded soon. And with that one, I'm going to cut the pink one in half for sure, because once I hit this, I could just hit it with a coat of primer and let that dry, and then I'm ready to cut it in half. This one's going to still take a while. This one to cut in half, I'm actually going to have to use probably like some kind of tape or something to line it up right. Also with like this helmet, I mean, it is technically casted from the original, but the original ones, they're not symmetrical. So, you know, in the show, you don't really notice it, but once you get your hands on one of these, you're going to notice like this side is not as long as this side, because like this line right here goes here, and this side goes way down here. Same thing with the mouth. If you notice, the mouth itself, where the white is, it's not symmetrical at all. But like in the show, you would never know that. With Jason's helmet, everything's lined up, everything's perfect. It's great. So the red one will take a little more work. But like if you want one of these, you could hit up Jason Lopez on Facebook. He sells them there. He also has an Etsy shop, which I think is like F5. Just type in Power Ranger helmet kits and it'll pop up. And then he also has a White Ranger, I think, on eBay. But yeah, go check that out if you're interested in a kit. And hopefully the next video, like I said, this will be ready to get cut. So here's to the next time.